Welcome back to the LCS, where guess what? Oh, no! No! My whole internet was all ruined.
Just retire already.
I just keep failing Raz. I just keep disappointing
put
Raz.
it behind your glasses.
That is the tech, but I feel like your glasses are set up better for that because you've got the rounded frames and mine would have to run. Anyway, the whole point was the breaking news was this: we're down to the one final line, and I'd gotten to it. We got one tiebreaker. That's it.
That's it?
Golden Guardians did what seemed like the impossible in that game and managed to come away with a win after how it started. So they locked themselves into that 8th spot, but that means that it's time for C9 and FlyQuest to do battle. One game to decide who's 5th, who's 6th moving into the postseason. There's a lot on the line for them. There's a lot on the line for MarkZ as well.
Do we have the final standings?
I think we do have the final standings. Let's take a look.
Yeah, because the reason that I think 5th versus 6th is so important is the respect that Team Liquid has been getting from all the other players we've had in the interview, and Team Liquid is that 3rd place team finishing at 12 and 6th, and that's going to be the first round playoff matchup. So the loser of this Cloud9 FlyQuest tiebreaker for 5th, 6th is the difference between playing against Team Liquid and the difference against playing CLG in the first round, which I think is very significant for these two teams.
Yeah, it's scary. You can make the prep for CLG, and it could be a little bit easier versus Team Liquid, because Team Liquid has just been really turning it on these days. And so it's going to, and also you just don't know what kind of drafts they've been concocting, really. That team, either they play through mid or top, or honestly, Santorin can just be the person they funnel resources into sometimes. So that one's going to be a dangerous one. And so better than this one, FlyQuest, especially them with how well their mid game has gone, or like middle of the split has gone.
We'll preview that one in just a moment, but as we've reached the end of the regularly scheduled matches of the split, we thought it was a good time for us to check in on the Pogs from today and the whole Pog leaderboard for the split. Today it was Palafox, Inspired, Johnsun, Huhi, and LeTigress picking up the honors for their games.
Props to Huhi. I know FBI had said previously that he feels like some of his Pogs should actually be Huhi's. I feel like Huhi has been playing consistently well, especially across this back half. And it's really made a difference, especially in their team fighting.
Came up big for his team today. From here, let's flip on over to the Pog leaderboards for the entire split.
Oh, who's the winner?
I would be surprised if it's still not Took Nasty.
If this were the old LCK MVP system, it would be him.
Boom, just
but
like
it's not.
that.
There's
but
the
it's
big
not.
MVP.
It's not how it works.
Yeah. But
they do have an effect.
Yeah, essentially 6 Pogs is like getting 6 first place votes, so it'll be 18 points towards his MVP campaign. Same for everyone else who has Pogs, 3 points per Pog.
Also in the Inspired, booted Danny down to being tied for 4. I think they're like yesterday Danny had popped up because there was a whole bunch of people tied at 4, but now.
Yeah, Danny had picked up the first 2 Pogs for Evil Geniuses this week. Inspired, though, will get it done in the final game of the split for them. And speaking of, our player of the week goes to Inspired as well. What a pop-off performance today on Vibe. But this guy, I mean, 4 solo kills in that game. 3 of them all came within 15 seconds of each other, which was pretty phenomenal in the 1v3. But this guy is definitely changing the way people need to approach Evil Geniuses.
For some context, Contracts had led all junglers for the entire split in solo kills with 4. And Inspired just got 4 in a game.
In one game.
So an absolutely unparalleled performance from Inspired today. And I think that is what carried him through this voting process. I think his Friday and Saturday games were very average for him. Danny actually got Pogs in both of those.
Right.
But like this sequence is, I think, the sole reason he won Player of the Week.
Probably.
Very well could have. And I mean, even in those games, and this has just been really the story for him throughout the split, is that at least in the early and mid game, being able to give resources and carry and be the bridge for Danny and JoJo.
Yeah,
and so like this is just another great example of that one. And made people believers in Vi, especially in that game. I thought it was just a really well concocted composition.
Who here didn't believe in Vibe before today?
Me.
She's been picked in some not great combos.
Get out.
All right, so
across the world.
Right here.
No, not you. You didn't say no.
Yeah, I haven't eaten my pepper yet. See, I don't like Vibe. Vibe sucks.
From MasterCard Player of the Week to the Samsung SSD Fast 5 for the week, let's check in on the individual top performers across all 5 roles in each of these statistical categories that we track.
Boom. One thing that's easily coming up to me is Pika. I mean, we always just praise Pika's individual performance, and in this one, I mean, he had a good week, and TSM has been trending upwards, and it's going to be fun to see how he does going into the playoffs, just because it feels like this team is now that it's stable, is playing well around him.
And for the match coming up, we see Berserker up there and Zven, I think they're looking a lot better together as a bot lane. Obviously, we already know that Berserker is a monster, but in the FlyQuest C9 matchup specifically that we're about to see, I am looking at that bottom lane.
And as my last call out, I put a salute out there. Pretty rough stuff for Dignitas. Blue actually had a great performance overall. So as much as this split really blows for the players in Dignitas, those individuals had like a standout performance, and I think it's really important to be able to give good praise to them on the journey to this point.
Not the split they wanted, but I like the call for Blue, and then I think Biofrost as well is the other that deserves an individual call for solid performances throughout the split. Congrats to those of you who earned bonus points on the LCS Sleeper Fantasy app for having this week's top performers in your lineup. But from here, we recenter ourselves to that FlyQuest versus C9 tiebreaker for the all-important 5th seed and the opportunity to play CLG as opposed to Team Liquid. I love that we're diving into some bot lane highlights because, Emily, that's the lane that you called out as the one we might want to focus on. Yeah, and I really liked how they played this early. They contested super early at level 1, took control of this bottom lane matchup, and we're looking really, really good. And it's just a reminder as well of how close Cloud9 was to winning today. If it wasn't for that inspired 1v3 triple kill or any of these incredibly close fights where EG was actually down in gold before taking them against C9, we wouldn't have this tiebreaker and C9 would be guaranteed top 5.
Yeah, and I remember just seeing the Twitch Yuumi. It reminds me of just this matchup throughout the split, specifically between C9 and FlyQuest. The first win that FlyQuest took over C9 was off that cat and the rat. Yep, a classic. Exactly, so it feels like C9 is a much more early game centric team with how really fiery they can play, while FlyQuest tends to scale more frequently. So I'm interested to see what this game is going to be from the draft. And there are a lot of good things that I do think C9 can take from their loss earlier today, but the big one is that I noticed, especially in like the early to mid, their cross-map trading was actually quite good. And they were really thoughtful about a lot of the things they did. So obviously EG did come out ahead in that, but that's something that they can take and build upon to go into this matchup. Well, there you have it. The table is set. The stakes are set for each of our teams here at Cloud9 FlyQuest, fighting for that all-important 5th seed. It's time for us to head out to the Battle Arena one final time here in the regular split as we hand things over to Phreak, Azael, and MarkZ. I promise this time for the call. Are you sure?
I think. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are the Doug Duo, but we have summoned from the dirt the one and only MarkZ.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi. Here for the tiebreakers. Yeah. I thought we were gonna get 3. I was disappointed with how that last game went.
Yeah.
I was a big Dig fan for that game.
You should have wore your outfit from yesterday today again. I think that was your best look.
If the producers let me, I'm coming in every day like that.
Yeah. Some red sunglasses, pretty good. But welcome back with your pinstripe jumpsuit.
Yeah, this is a big game.
It is a big game. Oh.
Ooh,
not just
pepper depends on it.
Yep.
Are you gonna eat the entire pepper?
Yeah, that's what we did last time. We chomped it down.
So explain the context. Why are you holding a pepper over there?
At the start of the split, we made a bet about who would make top 5. Jat picked TSM, knocked out very quickly. Raz picked CLG. He was safe today.
Yep.
And then I am on the line with the FlyQuest. They need to beat C9 here in order for me to stay safe. Otherwise, I'm eating a pepper. And in the crowd, you can see it right there with the sign. They were cheering for Cloud9, which means I hate the crowd today.
They're cheering for your demise.
Yes, we are enemies.
I'm with the crowd, actually.
I'm with the crowd as well.
I'm down to cheer for anything that causes
I am Team FlyQuest. I will cheer when First Blood comes in for Josedeodo.
Comedy, though, you're cheering for the fans at home to have less fun.
I am hashtag
They are
Team
FlyQuest
crowd.
fans at home.
What do you mean? But people will laugh at you. When you eat it, they're going to have fun. You want to deprive them of it?
Boo! C9 Berserker's gonna end.
And you can see they have banned 5. Berserker's like, buddy, we got to get rid of that one. Honestly, hard to deal with.
I don't blame him.
He's got some PTSD from earlier in the day.
Inspired went off.
He did. Well, Olaf going to be off the table here as well, though. Definitely has been a strong one for Blaber. As Fudge is flaming people. Good. Fiery option here. He's not going to lock it in.
Shout out to everyone in the crowd, by the way, that stuck around for the 6-game day.
Yeah.
Got a lot of C9 fans here. I'm loving the energy.
I would have loved to have been with them for 3 more, you know, the 4-game day if we had it.
Yeah, would you all have stayed if there was 4 extra games? Be honest.
Yes.
Okay.
They say easy to stay, hard to do.
I would have. Trust me.
We are contractually obligated to stay. So
I might have left.
Yep. Well, the cat has been grabbed. The brand is still being hovered.
What is the brand hover? Is this new or?
I don't remember it.
I haven't heard until now.
The only thing I can think of, and it would be probably a bit of a deep cut, would be because Trisha went over from FlyQuest to Cloud9 as I believe head of marketing, like VP marketing.
Yeah.
And marketing deal with branding. And so it's like, you stole our brand ambassador. I'm not, that's not what's happening.
That is like some real conspiracy theory, like
I'm not
yeah, 5 steps removed.
So funnily enough, the orgs do have a fair amount of history because one of the first FlyQuest rosters was kind of that Cloud9 Academy team that they...
With High and everything.
Yeah, they signed a bunch of players coming over to FlyQuest. They picked up... They also had one where they it was like Kumo and a number of other people came over. So they've had close contact for their entire organizational history. And like you said, C9 sniping away Trisha at the end.
And they left Zven's Yuumi unbanned here. He has been really good on range supports. I do think, he's solid on the melee supports as well. But even we were hearing, who was the interview with? And a pro got interviewed yesterday. They were talking about, I think it was Contracts. Contracts was saying how he thinks in particular he's really good on the range supports. So he is going to get the Yuumi and Sivir here. A lot of scaling there. Could also go for an aggressive option mid lane. Gwen is also an excellent pairing for the Yuumi. Anyone that really does look to dive in, Gwen plus Yuumi ult is so deadly to deal with. You have the Hallow Mist up, you have the Gwen ult popped, you're locking them down so they can't cut you out. That is really, really threatening. And it may be the Twitch here again. It worked really well in the 2v2 for Cloud9. It was more a compositional issue than anything to do with the Twitch.
Yeah, unfortunately, breaking up the cat and the rat, my favorite bot lane, split onto opposite sides of the rift.
Can be the hat and the rat.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hat.
Yeah. You like it?
I like it. I also like the lane. It has a little bit more dueling power, I think, in the 2v2. I mean, yes, you can get the submarine with Yuumi on top of Twitch to really surprise people right out the gate. But I think Lulu in general is a slightly better laner for straight up 2v2ing.
Oh, yeah.
And you saw how much it went in favor of C9 earlier in the day with the Yuumi. I wonder if this is going to be Afro and Johnsun trying to call a lot of resources down to the bot lane and blow it open.
One of the big things as well is there is no telegraph CC easily for the Sivir here. Right, Twitch E is so fast, you have to do it on prediction when he's going to press the button. It's going to be hard to do. Lulu W is a projectile. It does travel, but it's practically invisible. You kind of can't reflexively spell shield Whimsy, and once you're polymorphed, you're just dying to everything. So it is very hard to deal with Lulu's stuff going out as well. So Sivir's primary defensive tools are largely useless against the most important things in the FlyQuest duo.
I love the toucouille support from the crowd.
Yeah.
They love toucouille. We do too. How do you not, man? He's had some really good interviews. People really, I think, resonating with him as a person, and he's performed incredibly well in the LCS. So has been one of the most fun additions, I think, to the league this year.
And his Ahri as well. He had a pretty nasty Ahri game earlier on the split. I think he had the fat setup with the Everfrost a couple times.
His Dalia as well. Like, he has had some monster performances for FlyQuest. In a lot of their wins, he has been player of the game. And has really had some crazy strong carry performances.
He is the league leader in Pogs. You can see Wukong up the table as a premier jungler in Jax. We just saw that as a carry counterpick. It won the game just a moment ago as Golden Guardians took down Dignitas. So that is going to be one protection ban for Fudge. But Philip, who has been a real bright spot, a real surprise here for FlyQuest, has really stepped up, done well for the team. They're 10-8. They're fighting for 5th right now.
Honestly, when they grabbed Philip, I thought his laning was going to be such a problem, right? Because he had not been known as even a strong laner in Academy. His laning has not been great in the LCS, but it has not been so detrimental that it's really kind of like hamstringing the team. And I feel like he's played with a lot of confidence in team fights. When he's on an engaged champion, he's going in, no hesitation. He coordinates well with the team. He has a great attitude, and he's a very young rookie who has a bright future, I think, in the league.
Yeah, even the laning, it's not that bad. It's 0.1 negative or 0.6 negative CSP.
Yeah.
It's almost even in his lanes, and he's taking a lot of skill matchups most of the time. You got to expect he's not really the Ornn player. He's a Camille, he's a Jax, he's a Gwen, and whatnot. So you expect this 5th pick to be a big counter pick for him.
His growth has just been so impressive throughout this split, right? I remember talking to some FlyQuest members before the split, and they were saying they thought by the end of the split he could be as good as Kumo, their previous. Oh, Jensen Zilean. I actually love this, man. The speed ups here are going to be insane. You have a really strong pairing with Blaber and Yuumi, and you also have a really strong pairing with Fudge and Yuumi, and the Zilean can speed up any of these guys. Like, this was the original Cloud9 pairing back in the day with Kindred, right? When Jensen was back with them on Cloud9 in the past, they played a lot of Kindred Zilean, and they were really well known for that. And if I recall correctly, one of the best win rate champions in all of Jensen's career is actually the Zilean.
It's one of the highest in the LCS as well.
It's #1 with 10 at least games played.
It was on the LCS 10 and 10. Phreak paid attention to the quiz, and it's because the only time you see people play it, it's basically Bjergsen and Jensen, and in a situation when it's good for it. So it is insanely good.
80% win rate, 15 games played for his career on the Zilean. So is going to be a really strong neutralizing pick. I do really like the Kennen as the answer. The Kennen is not an answer into the Gwen as much as it is AoE is really good against Zilean. When you have single target focus, so a lot of the champions, when you think of like what Philip would play, if he goes to like a Camille or he goes to like the Aatrox or things like that, it's really easily answered by the Zilean ulti. When you have AoE damage, it makes your choices so much more difficult.
Yeah.
So if you can get Twitch with a Hurricane, if you can have Kennen, you have all this AoE damage flying in, and it makes the choices really, really tough for Jensen.
And with Sivir and Twitch here, it is about them in the team fights quite a lot as well. Sivir doesn't have good spell interactions with Kennen. The ulti you'll block one tick, and then you're just gonna get stunned and take 500 damage. And both these AD carries love when your team creates the cacophony, when they make all the space and are just disruptive, and you free fire as Twitch, or you free fire as Sivir if you're the team making all the space.
That's why it's going to be a lot on Jensen to be in the right place to res whoever they try and pick. It is a very heavy pick comp for the side of FlyQuest. The Twitch, the Ahri, the J4 can all try and explode somebody, and so Cloud9 trying to hold on to 5th place in the LCS.
Man, color me wrong, there's a lot of FlyQuest fans out there too. I thought from the earlier chance it was more Cloud9, but now I'm not so sure. A lot of loud fans there cheering for their squads. It's a big game for both of these teams. This is about avoiding TL in the first round.
Yep.
You know, that is a really big deal. TL has looked a cut above the teams that you would face in 4-5.
Gold. Actually, maybe
it's a mana flow bandit advantage.
Huge.
Lane is 1.
That 25 extra mana.
Yeah.
Johnsun gets to battle.
Game
for it,
over.
though. The chance is something useful because there's always a chance, right? Like if you have enough people here, Charm
you might
Flash.
get charmed.
Charm Flash could kill. Just about. He didn't even need a flash. The flag comes down as well. Jensen goes for the turret. Almost dead. Oh, what was that flash? An auto wouldn't have killed him. Well, Jensen down a flash himself. I'm not sure.
Honestly, not bad. If you get the flash out of Johnsun, then it's like really not that bad of a trade. And he's not. Is he gonna TP? I think he actually has to. No, he's just gonna walk. So he should lose his 3 melees. If you stack this, you could deny 3 melees.
More importantly is after landing that initial bomb in the river, Jensen typed headshot in chat. And aphromoo replayed with dang man, basically.
Yeah.
We'll clean that up a little bit. And then Jensen typed raffle, and then they jumped on him. So it was some text baiting. Very 5-head play by
This is
Afro
what
there.
Phreak does. This is unironically a Phreak strategy. If you ever play with Phreak, Phreak's gonna ask you, do you guys watch anime? Yep. And then he's gonna invade at the same time. And he does this every game.
And if you answer that your favorite anime is Rent a Girlfriend, you just get dumpstered immediately.
Because of this is a Philip reference, by the way.
Yes.
No one got that.
It was on his Get to Know Your Pro card, and very quickly the next post-game thread was how no one could support Philip anymore. It was the trash taste.
The trash taste anime.
Yeah, they came out in force.
That's rough.
Yeah, well, 10 CS over the Ahri's, but gets pushed in toward the turret. Johnsun himself, of course, is flashless. Now, Sivir Yuumi shouldn't have that much pressure, but you can see is still unwilling to do too much here. Press Q for the movement speed, and then the attack speed to trade back. Sidesteps the boomerang blade. Blaber finishes his top side, and Jarvan, red Raptors towards the bot. I can always reverse path, but Gromp is dead for level 3, onto his blue now, and there we go, the view of the lane. This is pre-Kennen buffs, by the way. The extra damage and cooldown on W, the extra AP ratio on R are not in on this patch.
I do want to focus on where Josedeodo is going to go. It does feel like all 3 lanes for him are potential options. You have set up in mid lane, you have this Twitch that you would love to snowball, and you also have Kennen, who, if Gwen is playing forward a little bit more, you can find an angle onto her and chase her down. She is taking Ghost, and so no way to flash that EQ combo potentially if you have a good angle on it.
The damage in the mid lane, already the flash forced out a charm for a bit, but there's no way Jose's going to be in range. He stays out of the fog, actually, not be hit.
Great gank from Blaber, though. 4 camps. He does a 3-camp top, takes red, wraps around towards mid, and now taking flash off toucouille makes it a lot safer for Jensen, because you talked about the gank setup. That's going to be much more difficult to pull off without your flash there. But Jensen has no vision on top side, and J4 is waiting in that brush, so they are going to look for the play.
Going to dive on in for a bit there. Knockout's going to be guaranteed to slow as well. First blood claimed. Head shot for FlyQuest.
I gotta say, that was a bit of a mistake on the C9 side. I think Blaber should have stayed around and just helped him reset the wave and then base, because even though you got the flash off the enemy mid laner, you still have no flash and you have no vision top side, so that play was always gonna be available. The buy from Jensen, not inspiring, and Jose still has his flash, so he can EQ flash here to set it up.
When do they want to go for it? Probably flame on the melee minion. In the auto attack animation, there he is.
Blaber's here this time, though.
Has the speed up, and you can see, yeah, the slow not gonna be enough for him. Red buff not being warned by Jose also means the follow-up's not gonna be as good. Could have some damage on a Blaber, but if Charm was up, you just like Charm afterwards, and you keep walking away, so it feels relatively safe.
Wave's still not fixed, though. toucouille has it frozen in front of his turret, and you can see that Jensen is feeling the pressure a little bit, especially with the Afro roam.
Yeah, this one will bounce because there is the cannon there, so it's going to slow push towards him, so I think he should be okay, but I do like the repeat gank. If you get that there and you die with no TP and the wave gets pushed in, like your lane is over. So it's a bit of a rough start here for Jensen, but as long as he can collect all this wave, he's not going to be in too bad of a spot and should be able to actually just reset and take another base here and probably buy like a Dark Seal or something is my guess.
Should be 1300 though. Yeah, there's Lost Chapter. Like that is the wow, exact gold too. Maybe you got a potion, but that is the recall you want on a mid laner. Like you don't really want to be Lost Chapter. I mean, boots are okay.
That's not it.
You know, a biscuit. You know, it's cute, but like, man, do you want Lost Chapter? Because you just have infinite length throughout that one.
Yeah.
You can perma shove. You basically can't And last time we saw it timing that bad, it was I think it was like the one I remember was Palafox Bjergsen, and it was like mid lane was over from there. Like the man just did everything he wanted to because of the massive difference in mana pool. But now on a 10 pros top side, early goes for Fudge new. As Jarvan is coming away, needs to get out.
Like what I see out of Josedeodo so far, getting into some of these lanes and relieving some pressure. After losing the flash for toucouille, getting that kill back, first blood, and then up there getting ghost out from the Gwen.
It is nice. I will say, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't commit his own flash to any of those, though. He could have looked for the flash. Oh, they get the stun, and now the easy follow-up here.
Good. Time Bob's going to land Charm for a second. Otto's still going to land for the knock-up, and Blaber knocks him down with an overhead swipe.
Perfect setup from Jensen. We didn't see the initial setup on screen, but I have to assume it is the E slowdown, double bomb, set it up. That guarantees the W is going to land there from Zin, and now they're going to get the push in here. toucouille does have his TP, thankfully for him, so he's not going to lose nearly as much as it could have been. And Jose, is lurking around, still has his flash available, but would like to see him try to repeat and punish some of those missing summoners. So maybe look up towards Fudge. Fudge now, no TP, no ghost. If you could get back up there and get that kill, that could put Philip in a really good spot here, because Philip is going kind of Scrooge McDuck build with first strike call.
The Greed Lord?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has the call down to 50 already.
The ward knows he can kill it. So toucouille gets his 30 gold claim, a little bit of XP as well. And the highway is back to darkness right now. Headlight's going to be needed as toucouille walks through his own control ward back up to mid.
Whopping 60 gold gain so far through the first strike. It is a scaling rune. I feel like people overestimate how much gold you're going to get from first strike early on in lane phase. Versus like if you get a TP flank and a 5-man ulti, it's like suddenly you get a 400 gold even if you didn't kill anyone. So not going to be early power spiking from the gold lead. It's not quite as crazy as Klepto when you got a little baggy right at the beginning, but will be useful throughout the game.
Fully agree. I mean, people really underestimate just like, it's not just scaling for gold, it's scaling for damage. It's 10% damage amp, right? So when you're looking for what is the ideal Kennen play, okay, you're looking for the TP flank, you E, you flash in, you pop all your damage out. All of that is 10% more with first strike, and you do get a ton of gold with it. And generally, people are pretty good around playing around that first strike as much as possible. So they are going to try to get in there and really poke it off as much as they can.
Like, see Philip still pressuring up here.
The Gwen also has pretty good answers to it because the Hallow Mist is a shorter cooldown early on than the first strike. So you can kind of use that as the first strike comes up. You pop your W, you E in, you hit him with the tip of your Q, and you remove that first strike. So there are some ways that Gwen can kind of play around that and try to deny it. And it becomes this little mini game a lot of times in lanes against first strike.
A lot of pressure topside. We know Herald's going up pretty soon. Many junglers will be drawn to the side of the map as Philip pushes up, and Josedeodo wants to make sure he's safe up there as he's going to slink into that front brush.
Yeah, if Fudge looks for any sort of all-in as well, because it is post 6, right? So he could look for some sort of aggressive play, and I think they're maybe trying to bait that. We don't know Jose. Okay, so he is in the front brush. They're going to get this kill, I think.
Going to find a bit of a knock-up. Everything else going to be in range. He'll come across as well. The dunk to follow through, but Kennen's out of range. Should it be enough, though? Ulti for a heal, and Philip still claims the kill. Such a good setup. Josedeodo brought over and gets the kill for the squad, but the top laner dead. You have to believe that Herald should be possible. Now, Twitch is alone in the bottom side. How much time do you buy then? Because you do not have smite on your jungler. Blaber does.
And you have no ult on your top or jungle. C9 will win this fight. You don't want to get baited into this. Kennen with no ult, J4 with no ult. C9 wins that for sure. So you are still trading back on bot side. We'll see how many plates Twitch can get and how much they will deny. Overall, still a pretty good play here for FlyQuest because they get the kill. They kill off the no 2P Gwen. And it looks like they got one plate on bot side, so nothing crazy. I like the fact that they actually sent Gwen bot to answer.
Did get a lot of CS though. It was a point where when Sivir made that move, she was about 15 CS up in the lane. So that does not only get you that turret play goal, but even out that CS a little bit for the Twitch. You have Sivir up on the top side right now, so aphromoo is going to stay up there. You're going to get a bit of a lane swap here. We'll see if they end up sticking with this. I imagine C9 is just doing a little dance to cover, but eventually will make their way back down as soon as this resets.
aphromoo, see, yep, shields himself, wants to deny an entire wave up here as no one's going to touch it. It's like, you know, let him kill our red minions, or at least, you know, make sure that Johnsun can get his own XP gain. Probably he's going to lose the cannon here as well, has to last hit it himself. I mean, at least none of the XP goes to waste, the goal is still earned.
He could have walked forward in the brush, but it's risky, right? He doesn't know if they're waiting around, so I think that's why he doesn't do it. Because you can save that cannon for your Twitch pretty easily if you just walk back into the brush. But, you know, that has the risk of just straight up dying, so not really worth the risk. And he will get a little bit of a gold injection himself, but this
too bad. Does leave FlyQuest down tempo quite a bit. Already Blaber and Berserker back reset onto the bot lane. With this, Rift Herald can potentially drop it and funnel a bunch of gold if they want to. Also, Dragon up with the bot side left in the top lane for FlyQuest means that they kind of have their pick of whatever objectives they want to take down this side of the map.
Cloud9 going to go for the next one there. Yes, they got the Herald still in inventory. They're going to look for the next one now as well. Yes, Philip able to get his own wave, but FlyQuest, I mean, they're going to look, but I can't imagine you get anything out of this one. Josedeodo would have to flash back out if he tried for anything, so now it's going to be easy smite. Gold lead for FlyQuest indeed. Yep. But we can get some of that back with the Herald Summon and the first Drake is on the board.
I mean, toucouille finished his base and had no TP, so they definitely were going to try to contest. They have just been prioritizing getting kind of solo XP and gold onto Johnsun, right? He's just chilling in his solo lane up towards top side. So they are really indexing on getting Johnsun gold.
I'm getting flashbacks of like Season 4, Season 5, solo lane Twitch, you know, when you do the 2v1s, you would protect them a little bit, and then you start roaming. Twitch ends up higher level than the enemy team. He's got a ton of gold funneled into him as well. You saw Jensen actually made the roam up topside to protect that turret to stop him from getting too many more plates, but that cost him a little bit. So now there's been this push and pull all over the map.
Dunk on in, forcing the flash out, and that is the downside of Sivir. She cannot outplay Jarvan combo. You're always going to land at spell shield or not. It's still going to put the walls up, and the chase is in. Great timing on the spell shield. Berserker holds the whole time for the charm.
Yeah, that's really impressive. No panic spell shield early on. I think, they're going to go back in.
Is it enough damage? The Lulu puts the shields on, but it's not going to be enough. Still forcing the flash away. And the Blaber has the ulti on, and the last charge comes out, no charm available.
I'm loving this game, man. You're getting 3v3s mid between bot laners, mid, supports. You have a 1v1 the top side. Zilean versus Twitch. This map is so different from what you're used to seeing, and now the Rift Herald's going to be dropped mid lane.
Yeah, going to get all that gold for Berserker, and Berserker, so much confidence with his reaction time there. Now, that was like a point-blank charm that he waits through everything for, saving the spell shield. Otherwise, he's probably dead. Going to be able to grab the plates there. Jensen looking for one plate, does get the slowdown, so double bomb going to be landed, but obviously not enough to threaten.
-1 in chats.
Drop cannon.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you're getting hit by Zilean. I understand that one at least a little bit. Wave goes in, and toucouille just going to have to wave clear. You can see how much pressure Zilean did have. Is on MarkZ, will help a lot against the Ahri outplay attempts. Works against Kennen, works against Lulu. A lot of stuff going to care about with that one. Zafra waits in the wings and sees when is something going to happen. Can I set up for Jensen maybe? He's going to try. He's going to try to be the big CC bot. Threatens him, but the turret plate was already damaged, so you can extend range, and Jensen's 160 richer.
Yeah, not quite the same old solo lane. Twitch got bullied out of the lane there by the Jensen. No Cutlass at 14-item power spike was when that was broken, but he does have Bork finish now. So this roaming Twitch, if C9 are not going to do a good job of keeping track of all these weird rotations going on, it's a very good timing now for the Twitch to find one of these isolated targets, open up, get the 3-hit proc so you steal their speed and then mow them down.
Yeah, it is such a strong one-item spike, but you know, there's also a lot of a cost to it, right? Because we were talking about this earlier, Phreak, where you have this big spike and you kind of have to make something good with it, because IE is pushed back to 4 items, and in most games you don't actually get 4 items, right? So your big kind of team fight power that people really talk about with Twitch is so delayed, as Jose is going to be forced out here.
Sivir wants it as well. Anyway, flashed in for the Yuumi CC, a lot coming on here. Twitch will fire, but it's already 1, it's already 2. Just beautiful careful out of the Cloud9 dive, and it's going to be all he can try. The Zilean revive is even there. It's not going to matter. Blaber gets back out. A 3-for-0 immaculate from Cloud9.
Man, that is classic Blaber. He just knows his limits so damn well, has the Zilean behind him, and he just goes for these hyper-aggressive plays, flying in, getting the maximum.
I hate it. He's forcing this pepper in my mouth. I don't want to eat this now. But that's that quick triple kill mid lane. Blows the game open a little bit.
Not looking good for you, Mark.
Oh, man, I'm in trouble.
All right, we can watch this one more time. Just has the sweeper over the wall, so connects the W. Jensen is already moving in. And this, I think, a lot of people would have just left this as everything.
No,
right?
I'm
but
flashing in
Blaber
Yuumi.
flashes in as the Yuumi attaches, gets the double root. Berserker is there for the damage, and they know they can continue because Jensen is here to back him up. This is one of the really nice things about Zilean and champions that can enable tower dives in this kind of new era where towers are much stronger.
They're just so good together, too. The double stun landing on Aphro after the double root to make sure that he can't flash out and extend that fight. Really good job punishing the flashless Josedeodo, kind of repeat of the play that cost him that flash. And now it does feel difficult for FlyQuest around this mid lane. You have kind of this 1-3-1 setup a little bit here, but so much pushing potential for this Sivir Yuumi to insta-shove that wave and then start working with Blaber.
Philip was going to try to lay a trap there, but does just end up clearing up the waves. And C9, full control on top side. They have the push. They are just going to grab another Herald for themselves here, which if they want is a guaranteed tower mid based on how low that already is. FlyQuest is coming over. Does get the eye though, and will be able to connect it. There's a TP flank from Kennen.
Okay, they're gonna try for the big play. Team fight power is gonna be there. Rocket Belt, ulti flash, going for a lot right now. Exhausted for some time. Staying alive, locks on the back line, and finally, the zone is burned. And they're gonna go right back onto Philip. He does not buy enough for his team. They can't join in. And now Cloud9 looking to end what FlyQuest started. But first, the dunk comes across. Only a single kill picked up. Philip trying to do his best right now. The burn is on. aphromoo getting a bit of damage across, but he's got to be the target next. The bomb is on their heads. Be careful.
Oh, no.
Flash over the wall. He's gonna get it. Berserker diving in, goes for everything, and just every man dies. Josedeodo left alone in the shambles of FlyQuest's attempted team fight.
You could see what they were looking for. The Kennen kind of locking everyone down for J4 to be the follow-up engage, but just slightly too far behind. The Sivir able to kite out long enough so that they could just kind of exhaust through the Kennen initial engage, blow him up, and then take that 5v4.
And the exhaust is just so brutal for Kennen to deal with. Pretty much 100% of the time you see Kennen in a game, you're going to see the exhaust because it is such a telegraphed engage here. They see Philip, they kite up away from the rest of the team. It's a great engage here from Philip, but with the exhaust, not enough damage to actually threaten the kill. And then the re-engage here from Jose as they come over the wall. Johnsun has no flash, so it doesn't really matter because everyone is already piled in on top of the Twitch, and he gets locked in the Cataclysm.
Taken down very early on in that fight. The ultimate from Jensen does not get procced, but it keeps Fudge left alive long enough. No one wanted to pop it for him that he can then use Gwen's kind of innate sustain to stay topped up for the rest of this fight. Those bombs by Jensen also cutting off the escape plan so people don't want to step on top of each other.
Exactly. I mean, toucouille is trying to wait out the Zilean ulti to then maybe finish him off, but he's too low, so he has to flash over the wall, and Berserker can go in. He's happy about it, knows they're in a great spot. Herald gets dropped, mid lane tower is taken, second dragon gonna be claimed here as well for Cloud9. They are cruising in this one.
Berserker got solo gold, and that turns to 300 more into his inventory. 1-0-6, got the assist, but he's got turret gold, and he's feeling really good here. 400 gold lead for Cloud9, and the gold in a lot of really good spots here. Berserker flashless, Jose has ult. Could force that fight, but they wouldn't finish it well.
Needs to be careful with these EQs into the pit, especially since it was warded out with that behind the wall there. We saw already Blaber more than happy to tag him with the W and take that scrap.
It's like that's like the Blaber play, the blind EQ into the side brush. I still think of his first Worlds when he was on Cloud9. There's this one play, it's just blind EQ into the side lane brush that I always kind of picture in my mind, where he's always willing to make kind of that aggressive posture, right? Because he's thinking about the big plays, thinking about the flank. And I think Jose's trying to play with that same mindset here. I think you kind of have to have that killer instinct when you are playing an early game champion like J4. You've got to find those angles, you've got to find those engages, because sitting back and farming, like, you're not playing Viego, you're not going to scale in that same way.
Copium take.
Okay.
FlyQuest fell very far behind against TSM earlier in the day before Johnsun scaled and carried. I see no difference.
True.
This is the same game.
Further copium take. Both teams have a winning record on red side and not a winning record on blue side. Ooh. So FlyQuest statistically are actually favored despite the gold deficit.
Alternative point of view, no.
I understand.
Cloud9 is winning.
You make some great points there. I can't refute any of those.
Cloud9, 2 dragons up, 2K almost up here. They are looking good. The Twitch, does have a nasty late game, but so far behind the item curve. And when you're actually comparing the gold, down 1,300 right now,
it's a full item.
Is going to be a tough one.
Oh yeah, Berserker spell shields early. Auto exhaust still gets it. He will die. Burns the flash for one of the assists gold. Just all goes toward Cloud9. Zerker did not have a shutdown, so it's actually gold.
Don't have a cat either.
Nope. Nice attempt, right? But yeah, just congratulations, you hit the guy, but it doesn't really matter.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's still not bad, right? He's looking for those plays. He does actually get the kill. If there weren't those Cloud9 members backing up Berserker that quickly, he would have had the kill and maybe been out scot-free. So I respect the attempt. At the end of the day, though, they are in trouble now.
Aphro's rooted, slowed up yet again, trying to get back into range. Blaber gets the knock up, and that should be a kill. He wants it. Can't get the blast plant in time. Jensen gets the kill, 10-4. 2,400 gold lead, and we'll even take a Gromp for good measure. He wants it. He gets the smite. Consolation prize.
We take those. Okay. Trying to have a little bit of a copium angle, because right now Cloud9 are in so much control of this game. You see such little vision for the side of FlyQuest. Also with the Infernal map, it's a lot easier to make paths through the jungle with how many speed-ups they have. The Yuumi and the Zilean speed-ups make it so that you can get from bot to mid in a map like this so fast. And Philip has to play so far back over the last minute and a half, just respecting that potential.
And I think one of the things that's really difficult, from this kind of game state is we saw how much earlier when Cloud9 was playing the Twitch, how they struggled with the Vi comp. I think, in the later stages, even if Johnsun is able to get to multiple items, dealing with Gwen plus Yuumi plus Zilean is going to be so tough, right? For him to be able to find the angle to get onto the Sivir, which is really kind of that target he wants, is going to expose him to the Gwen, right? And this ghosted Gwen with the Yuumi strapped on is almost always going to have enough damage to really knock you down. It does make it incredibly difficult. So I think they're going to have some really good setup, flank from multiple angles, and try to be able to get a really good Kennen ult with everyone flying in at the same time.
Because the other thing about Twitch is that his actual shred is quite high against a lot of tank targets. Yeah. But both Gwen and Zin have the "you can't hit me from there" button that stops Twitch from being able to open up on them as
Gwen is immune.
Gwen is immune. Zin is also immune. Double immunity.
Yeah, takes no damage, everything else still sticks. So you can stack your passive. Right, and then when it pops off, you press E and you do 212.
Are you still alive at that point? Because
it depends if they're killing your teammates first.
Someone's dead.
Yeah. If Jarvan puts the pit up, it's like, all right, you kill me instead. The rat will deal 0 damage. Unlucky. Churro stays alive for now. Philip's still getting his farm going, 178. Still behind the Gwen, though. Void Staff is in. No upgrade on his stopwatch yet. That's been broken for a while. He's probably on his way to Zhonya's third. Hope he has the damage, but because Zven has exhaust currently on cooldown, about under a minute to go till it's back. And likely stuff that engage.
Also, Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. You can see C9 getting rid of the red buff, starting to set up some vision control around here. I wonder if FlyQuest can test, because this is not a game that I think gets easier with time.
I think they kind of have to. I feel like if you give up the third for free, it's such a high chance that Cloud9 are going to finish out that soul at some point in the game. And they have such easy ways to actually apply it as well. When you think about Sivir, the ricochet, bouncing through your team is going to be really, really difficult. But Cloud9 is just dominating the jungle. Nice chunk of damage onto Blaber, but with Yuumi there, you're going to just be healed right back up.
Bot lane, Fudge getting himself some gold. Sees toucouille, doesn't have to care. Minions will almost kill it, and they do. 300 gold to Fudge, 50 to everyone else, and now Dragon number 3 is being attacked. It is tanky. All right, 11,000 health. It's going to take a while to kill, but can FlyQuest get the fight?
Philip's coming in with the DP.
Coming in. Yes, Philip is on the way. Will it happen, though? He wants to go in anyway. Dives in. Is it enough lockdown is the question. Blaber the front line. Will they revive him? It's going to be a kill. Already toucouille is down. And they're going to dive in for a whole lot more. When do they get the fight, though? John still has his ulti. Pops up. Dodges a bit of damage, but nothing else is available. And he will drop 2 kills picked up. They cannot get away. Josedeodo's going to fall. Aphro's going to be next of 5 for nothing. The Bud Light ace. And it's going to be all Cloud9 all day.
Cloud9 going off in that fight. Philip tries the TP flank, but they have the summoners. Everyone flashing out. They don't even need the exhaust for the Kennen, so they still have it for the Twitch. They'll get the kills, they'll get the dragon, they'll get the Baron, and Mark, get your pepper ready, buddy.
The Cloud9 sign gang is eating good tonight. I am not after this play. Nice hideout by the side of C9 here, kind of identifying that pincer move coming in. And Blaber's stepping forward to make it so that they can't just keep getting chased down. He has the Zilean ult on his back pocket, doesn't even need it. Johnsun kind of waits out that ultimate before trying to pick a target, but
it's like, where's Jose? Like, why are you the only one going forward? If you're fighting, fight, right?
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So may as well try. So I'm kind of with you that, like, go find an EQ target. Maybe you can blow up Zilean during that time. It's hard to know, but it was a lost fight probably either way after the Kennen engaged with stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, the only bright news is they forced a lot of sums, so they do have summoner advantage now. You know, Johnsun can have his flashback, toucouille can have his flash, Jose will as well. Philip will not, but if you can try to find some sort of a play during that window, that may be kind of your last chance. It's going to be really tough.
You got more copium than I do. I'm doomered already. I'm like looking at this pepper.
Jensen's got his own basically summoner spell here. Not going to land the root, and will not find the stun either. Able to always give Blaber Ghost or summon a revive, actually, to throw back. He's his own summoner spellbook.
Oh, they're trying to sneak around here, look for Fudge, but it's tough, man. I mean, FlyQuest has done a good job. Oh my god, that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, big boy, 2.5 items.
He wants it.
Yeah, Philip will jump the wall and stay alive, so he can survive this one. Yeah, he's just unable to really get in for anything, right? Slowly on his way towards zonies, but far away from that one. Oh, he's still going to be in range. This one dodges the ulti. Can they get on a Fudge? Will land the stun, but he's snip, dead. 1 for 1, though, at least something on the board. How about the rest, which is faring? aphromoo should die. Back in goes Blaber, and he's still immune for now. Jensen gets self-revived. They knock him down. Now Johnsun needs to hit Blaber. He needs the peel. Trying to get away. Kites it for as long as he can. Shuts down the one. Blaber lands a W, but he should burn. Oh, the autos come in, and there's a couple of kills. Now Sivir Yuumi still pushing the side lane, but at least a team fight finally went the way of FlyQuest.
4 for 3 for FlyQuest, getting some gold back in their pocket, taking those Barons off the map as well. Excuse me, 3 for 3.
Yeah.
I did have Yuumi and Berserker up in the top side, little cat hiding on them. Want to look at the minimap quickly? There you go. That's some gold back in your pocket, some shutdowns, some relief from the Baron push.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, Johnsun now going to be closing in on the Hurricane, of course, on the other side. IE is done, and Berserker buys a stopwatch on top. He is going to be very difficult to deal with. They do get some shutdowns, which is very nice. Fudge going really, really aggressive here. Jose gets sniffed out, but FlyQuest do collapse down, and they have eyes on the fact that Sivir and Yuumi are topside. So this is really about as good of a chance as you're going to get.
I love the blast cone gaming by Philip there. Takes one out, takes one back in, and baits Fudge on this side where they're able to blow him up. And then here, just you can see how annoying it is for the Twitch, like we said, with those zones where your auto attacks do nothing, considering Twitch wants to play at range with his ultimate, and then you don't want to step into him, you don't want to waste your ult doing nothing. But he has to.
This charm, though, from toucouille was really, really key. The sidestep holds it, nails the charm onto Blaber, because if Johnsun dies there, it's just an absolute tragedy.
Kind of a 5-head play to shoot the charm at Johnsun and say, if you go back in, this is going to land. Otherwise, we'll just play you from range. So.
And in a lot of those situations, when it's that close, you just react to the animation, right? And you know that he's going to be looking for that dash. He's got to close the gap anyway onto the Twitch. So I do think it's a pretty smart prediction there from toucouille. And Johnsun now, is 1K down, but at the very least, he's kind of completing that third item. You're looking for that dream fight from Twitch. Everything coming in at the same time. If he can get to his Hurricane, if Kennen opens up at the same time, you have lots of AoE damage. That's their hope. That's their prayer. But Cloud9 just have to track those, clear out wards behind them, and make sure they're always marking the Kennen.
And he's just about there. Like, this is basically Hurricane money right now. I think he's got enough for the combined. It's like 1,100 from where he is, so I think he can get back to base. Yeah, he's recalling now. And he's got Gale Force, so I actually like a lot as well. I think it fits the game state where you're behind, you're winning via Assassin Twitch. Like, Lulu hits W and E on you from Fog, you jump up and you're like, I'm hitting Berserker! And if you flash or spell shield, I Gale Force after you, and that's probably gonna get the kill. So with the buffs on, I do think he has the ability to solo out about half of Cloud9's roster, as long as Jensen's not there.
This is the problem, though. He's got a stopwatch, right? So he can do it once, and they're kind of checking those boxes.
Yeah, it is. That's actually very smart. Of course, a very good buy by Berserker here.
Yeah.
And summoners are up, ultis are up, and Jensen is going to be around in the back pocket, right? It's going to require a big outplay to FlyQuest.
Yeah, House of the Dragon Soul Point. Woo! On the Rift right now.
Yep.
You do have also not a fully completed engage by FlyQuest yet. They've always been a little desynced, so if they can find that one wombo.
They might look.
They press the buttons onto him. Okay, here's Blaber trying from the very beginning there. Josedeodo holds the front line. Opens up, holds the ult for now. Sivir ult comes across, here comes Gwen. Should not go to truck them, toucouille. Johnsun flashes the wall as Blaber dives in. Everyone gets away. Crucially, though, Twitch still has the ult.
And no ult at all used on FlyQuest side, so it is flashes down, but can they actually look for it? toucouille, in fact did use his ult, so we'll see if they can find the angle. They've got to try. You've got to just brute force your way in. You see Fudge now. You know he's coming for the flank.
You must. 2K health. Flag is down. Can't get this might in time. And there is the health of the Dragon Soul. Infernal is flamed. Decent damage than a Blaber, actually.
Johnson's looking for the flank.
I think they should try for this fight. I think they need to try. They're going to go right now. Here we go. Johnsun pushed a bit low. He gets hit. Oh, that could be a kill. And he's trying to kite. He's trying to live. Just barely for now. A 1-for-1. Lulu drops. Kiting Fudge still, but Sivir is good for it. Berserker alive. The level lead, the durability, enough to keep him alive. And Johnsun, where does he even go? How does he survive this one? They know where he is. Prowling projectile. The cat hunts the red. And Fudge cuts him down.
Not done yet. Jose and toucouille trying to find their way out of here.
Oh, you cannot escape from Jensen.
That's
Look at this slow, the double bomb. Oh, doesn't quite land.
This is going to haste up. He's going to go behind him. This, honestly, I think is still going to be maybe 2 for nothing. Josedeodo needs some time still for the next flag to come up. Right about now. Hitting it for lifesteal. It does affect it on the grab. The kill would have healed him. The jump in. The prowling projectile. Infernal Soul.
No.
The root comes in. Allez, tuk. Il est mort. And Cloud9 will move in to knock down some inhibitors.
23-8. Call it the red wedding. The red team's been slaughtered.
Cloud9 looking like they got this one all but wrapped up. Gonna secure themselves to the superior seeding. Dodge TL here, unless Johnsun can do something about it, but he doesn't even have the ulti. I can't see it happening.
You look a flash away to start the fight. Out7ers down, health bar down. Johnsun down as well. Cloud9 will secure the 5th seed. Cloud9 will secure a date with ZLG in the first round of the playoffs.
Nice bounce back game from Cloud9 here after dropping earlier in the day. Take down FlyQuest, like you said. Secure that matchup versus CLG. For FlyQuest, they got Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup for them. Love the draft here from Cloud9, and they get to enter playoffs here on a high note. Feel good about that one. It's nice to see the Zilean brought out here. It's something that, we don't see a lot, but I think really fit the composition well. Multiple options here for Zven's Yuumi to attach to. It's great with the Xin. It's great with the Gwen. Really, I think effective drafting and great play to really kind of play aggressively, especially that mid lane play that really put them ahead where they're going for the dive, utilizing the Zilean ult. That really put them in a big lead. And despite some good attempts at flanks from Philip and good attempts at engages from FlyQuest, the exhaust was always there to shut them down, and Cloud9's always going to win out in that extended play.
It just felt like everything had an answer. The exhaust for the Kennen, the double immune frontline for the Twitch, the Zilean in case the Twitch ever did find a flank. It just felt like there was very few ways to outplay Cloud9 in this game. Yep. And then the early game for Cloud9 was quite good as well.
I mean, I can keep listing people who did a good job. Fudge, I think, did really well in his lane despite being counter-picked. Felt like he had more pressure.
What's up next, Mark?
Yeah. Berserker even, just the Sivir ult, he was like, the flank is coming. We'll ult and get away from them so that though we are locked down, we are a screen away from Twitch. We are a screen away from Lulu and Jarvan. So cool, Kennen got a 1-second stun, but we're unstunned by the time they're in range. So everything else worked out really well.
Yep. Looking doomed for me, the Habanero and Jat.
Yep.
After this interview, I don't know who they're getting. Find out. I wonder if it's Berserker. There were a lot of Berserker fan signs. One of them had lights and stuff on it. It was pretty hyphy.
Oh, wow. That's you see a lot of that in like LCK Studio, and when we went to China for Worlds, and stuff, a lot of like really fancy signs with lights and all kinds of stuff.
Listen, if you want free shouts out on air,
there it is.
Oh, there you go.
Right? You get to be
a next level sign.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you also get to be E-famous if you bring out swagged out signs. Okay, we show signs, but we will show more signs that are more special.
True.
Yeah.
People can go so over the top now. Someone in playoffs
do it.
going to show up with like whistlers and like fireworks going off.
I don't think you can do fireworks. Maybe that's a hazard indoors, but
well, they might not know that
you
yet.
You can draw them. We have a security team. Please do not encourage your fans to bring things they should not bring into the studio.
Yeah, never me. Never me doing something against the rules.
Yeah, of course not. Anyway, so we are going to have an interview very soon. I'm looking over. Still don't know yet. Oh, no. Maybe it is Berserker. Cool. Okay, I know it's not yet. I was just looking. I was told not yet. And I responded on air like that mattered for anyone else. We're going off the rails here, all right? I've cast 3 games, too much.
Imagine if we had the 4 games, how off the rails we could go.
Well, that was like I was thinking back earlier to the 10-game day. I don't know if
I was on that.
Yeah, I was on that day as well. That day, everyone got loopy. Definitely.
2 full broadcast days in one.
Yeah.
Well, that was really that was like Worlds last year as well, right? When during
the 4-way tie in Group D where
even just it was like 8-game day schedule. Wasn't it, at the start for groups.
Dash was talking about that earlier. It was just him and Dagda on the desk. It was a 2-man desk for like 9 games, whatever it was.
Yeah, we had something with MSI as well, where they had to replay all the RNG games. Like, we need to replay like 6 games on the days that already exist. So it was like you've had some longer ones.
But I'm pretty excited for playoffs, honestly. I think we have a lot of teams that can potentially make a splash. I think, FlyQuest turned in a really solid performance in this final week. 3-0 in the Super Week, I do believe, to even earn themselves this tiebreaker, which makes them, I think, much more of a credible threat to TL. So that becomes exciting. I think the 4-5 matchup between CLG and C9 is really, really good. We know our top two teams are going to be waiting in that upper bracket. That's going to be a banger, whoever goes up to play against them. So I'm really, really excited for a lot of these matchups.
Does feel like anything can kind of happen. Yeah. With even like CLG, so hot when they're able to find all these kills all over the map. You can wonder, can they keep it up for a full best of 5, whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting postseason. And of course, we're going to have that in just 1 week's time. And now, we're headed to the stage for our Verizon postgame interview with Zven and Berserker.
What do they think about CLG?
We'll get to that question in a moment, casters. But I do have the Cloud9 bot lane here on the stage after winning the tiebreaker. I'm going to start with you, Zven. You played a match way earlier in the day. How did you and the team prepare coming into this tiebreaker?
Just first pick Yuumi. That's all.
That's it?
Yeah.
But there were so many parts of the draft that were good into FlyQuest. So.
I mean, draft is very simple now. You first pick Yuumi and then you log in Sivir if it's open. If it's banned, you pick Siri. It's just that simple. Or Twitch.
Yeah. Or Twitch, yeah. How do you think that you played on Sivir into Twitch?
Just like, hand the gap. Twitch is right page.
You have better hands. Now, this isn't the end of the road. It was a tiebreaker to make sure that you knew where you were going in the playoffs. This means Cloud9 is facing off against CLG. I'm going to start with you first, Zven. What do you think of CLG best of 5 territory?
I'm just happy we're not playing against Steel. That's all, really.
Yeah, you avoided them here with this win. So you feel confident against CLG then?
Yeah. We lost to them last week, but I feel more confident against them than against Team Liquid.
Fair enough. What about you, Berserker? How do you feel against CLG?
Just ban Seraphine and Yone.
Yone. All right, Seraphine and Yone, we're looking out for it. All right, I love it, I love it. Congrats on taking down this tiebreaker, getting the matchup against CLG here, getting yourself that top seeding. All right, we got a lot to wrap up on this day, everyone. But as we do, I believe Mark is joining Jat to pay the Pepper Piper. I'm looking forward to that. Hope y'all are too.
What is that?
I think CLG will sneak into top 5. I mean, they're already there. People have been
wait, I'm smelling a bet.
Oh,
I'm smelling a bet. I'm smelling a bet.
Oh,
he gets first pick.
So he's going to go
I picked CLG in my
CLG
draft.
Oh.
See how hard it is?
But then we all lose.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll pick. I don't even want it. TSM. I'll pick.
He's going to pick TSM.
TSM
Always comes back to TSM Jat. All right, so he's going with TSM. Mark,
I'm going FlyQuest because I actually predicted them in my power rankings.
As 5th?
As 5th, yeah.
Wow.
There it is.
There you have it.
And
What are we
races.
betting? What are we betting?
We're off to the races.
What is the bet?
This is the hardest part
Didn't
of
you eat something
bets.
super hot?
I did eat something super hot.
He ate habaneros.
Let's do it again.
We'll do it. Just eat spicy stuff.
I mean, that's probably the best
Do
bet.
we up the ante? The bet is, let's say CLG is 5th. You two then have
Lose,
to each.
yeah.
Lose.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay. So it's each of
Wait.
you then.
Oh no. Okay.
So
So if all of us lose, we're
If all of you lose,
together.
just you all do it. Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Cast as we close out the 2022 Summer Split. Raz repping CLG as they did him proud. They went one higher than they needed to go. Only needed
You're
5th.
picking the Pepper.
They made it to 4th.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately,
It's not a question. This is not a
unfortunately
question.
for Jat, his fate was sealed a little while ago. For Mark,
demonic.
it came all the way down to this tiebreaker, my dude. Unfortunately, Cloud9, they wanted to do you dirty.
So we only could have picked from the top 4 teams, right? So only one of us could have possibly been right. And Raz picked first, so this whole game was rigged. Raz isn't smarter.
You actually believed in FlyQuest. You said you actually thought they were top 5.
How about you guys eat that pepper, then make your
I
case
need to
for why
ask the
this
rules.
is rigged.
How much of it do we have
The
to
whole
hold?
thing.
And then how
I ate
many
the whole thing.
shoes do we have to take?
You have
I
to
don't think that matters.
swallow the thing. Oh, if you want to swallow the whole thing,
The trick,
the whole thing
if
without
you
chewing,
wanna
go
eat
for it.
A lot of them
Like-
at once.
Yeah.
The trick is to swallow it whole.
yeah.
You want to do the
If you really want, I like
wanna-
that.
He wants
Yeah,
some
this is
advice.
cute. Zoom in on this. Wait, Raz, don't block it. Oh, friendship.
I know.
All right. So what we've decided to do while the two of you start to munch on these is we've cut together a lovely little reel of the two teams that you both put your faith and weight behind going
What is it,
throughout
low
the
lights
summer
because I
split.
hate them?
It's a reel. some maybe highlights, maybe lowlights. I'd like for the two of you to kind of talk through your team's performance here in the latter half of the split, and especially this final week.
All right, this is FlyQuest losing versus TSM. No, they win this game.
I got it down.
I'm now this hot already.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the heat.
What did you want us to do?
Talk about your teams and how they performed this
I didn't
week.
see.
All right, so FlyQuest went 3-0 to give me a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They tried real
Respect
hard.
the hell out of them. But
No.
for Super Week. They went 3-0 in Super Week.
Holy crap.
Where have you been?
Yeah, thinking about peppers.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. I just wish they could have done a little bit better.
You have to chew it so many times.
Why is there no straw? They gave me milk.
I don't even have milk.
Take the lid off. Millennials these days don't want to put in the effort to drink milk.
I don't care about turtles. Give me a straw. FlyQuest and I are technically very far apart.
Actually, you know what? Now that FlyQuest didn't get it done for you, I'll accept your anti-environment stance for one day.
Do you want milk, dude? You okay?
I don't know. The milk doesn't actually make it better. It just relieves the symptoms, much like ice. Yeah,
Okay, but here's the thing.
Which hurts more,
Feeling
TSM's
worse?
performance this split or this pepper?
well, the good news is that, well, TSM is still even in playoffs.
They are.
So I was gonna make,
nose is
I was
gonna
gonna make
start
some
going.
joke about
I
like
could use
I still get to
napkins.
come back next week.
Anyone?
Don't give them a napkin.
That happens
mean,
to
I
me
would just
every
wipe
time.
my
Your
nose all over this.
Yeah,
Even
your
better.
nose just starts running.
I'm
think I
actually
care
doing
about
this
your
without
wardrobe?
milk for some reason.
I don't know why your idea of relieving symptoms doesn't matter. Like, yeah,
Well, I think my theory here is that my body will get rid of the spice faster the worse that it is.
your holistic kind of.
Is
I'm
this
not
the
sure.
same thing as like cold showers?
This is actually
So,
pretty tough.
so Jad, do you think you? So Jad, by that logic, if you have like a hairline fracture versus like a compound fracture, your argument is the compound fracture will heal faster because your body will recognize that it's a more grave break.
If it's a clean break, sometimes that heals better than like a micro fracture for an NBA player.
Okay.
Wow.
Because they keep trying to play through the micro because it's not that bad, but if it's really bad,
Yeah.
they're not doing anything to it.
Yeah.
And then Amari Stoudemire can still win with the Knicks.
I think that needs another one.
In the end, I agree. I haven't gone to the doctor in years.
Oh God, Mark.
I think
What do I got to do to get you to the doctor? What'd you say?
I think I got through it.
You're through it already.
Better American healthcare system.
Yeah.
That's
Because I didn't
frustrating.
do milk.
You did well with that.
That's not.
Yeah.
Annoyingly
You can't
so.
just say because you didn't do milk, you got through it
Yeah.
fast.
Did anyone say
Willpower.
eat it?
This is what excites me though for the idea that in the future the punishment will escalate based on how wrong you are because you're the person who
I
would
would
have
have
been
to
in
be
the
the second
situation. You would have had
pepper.
been like 2 peppers in.
Yeah.
Whereas Mark was only 1, for example, or something like that. Okay.
Okay, I can function.
So now let me ask you this though about your two teams, kind of looking forward to playoffs, and we can pull up the bracket now that we have.
Okay, stop
okay,
it.
I never want to hear that sound ever again.
You never gargled
Now
some
that
milk?
I've never gargled milk. I haven't drank
Swear-
milk since I was
Oh,
like
bit.
12 years old.
What is it when you're drinking wine?
Get this man out of
You
here.
know me, gargling my wine.
Yeah, you gargle wine.
Where have you been
Okay.
drinking wine?
But here's what I want to know, and so Jad, I'll ask you first.
Okay.
Since both of your teams didn't make top 5 but still made playoffs, I want to understand where your confidence levels are in these teams now. in the
0. I hate
postseason.
FlyQuest.
Like,
So-
how would you reevaluate where your
trying to
teams
read
are at
this
and how far
bracket.
they can go?
The loser of which series does TSM have to face?
The
Yeah,
loser
two
of the second
loser.
series, so TL Fly will
So
drop
we actually
to play.
get TSM Fly
TSM.
if TL wins.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Solo will get revenge on FlyQuest and take him down.
So you're betting that TSM will beat FlyQuest in their best
Solo
of
was
5.
like
And I'm betting
unironically.
FlyQuest will beat TSM.
So we put in some more
yeah.
peppers on the. What are we putting on the line here? I don't feel like Jad was pushed hard enough
support
with
each
this
other.
one.
You know,
Okay,
who
yeah.
cares about production? We should just like give each other a gift if the other person's right.
Like a nice bet.
Instead of ruining our afternoons, we could have a good afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So,
Just
so
something nice
the
to know.
loser has to present.
Why
a
am I
gift.
betting on TSM? They're never going to win.
You just.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
You went in that
TSM.
direction.
Not a single person here
TSM,
forced
yeah.
your hand.
it's true.
That's what happened.
But we're agreed.
It's Pepper Brain.
TSM v FlyQuest.
If it
Loser
happens.
buys
If it
a gift.
happens.
Do we have like
Yeah.
Are we gonna do like a price limit, like under 20
It's
bucks?
like you know the
Why low?
Sorry, what do you want?
you know
Michelin star.
over 100.
you know
should
White
get me a
Elephant?
Michelin
yeah,
star.
White Elephant. There's
Yeah.
always
Best-
there's always a max.
best, most thoughtful gift under $20.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I like
Oh,
that.
wait, though.
Mark's
That's a
thinking
fine.
about
cool
it.
gift.
yeah.
Classist Mark
told
is
us-
like, it
Big
has
told
to
us.
be.
Sit down.
If it's inflation.
least
Only
like-
the gift scales with the price of it. That's
Yeah, I can do it in $20.
$20.
I actually
Boom.
can't believe
there it
they
is.
powered through that.
All right, but this is, of course, this is only if.
dude.
This is again assuming that FlyQuest gets knocked down to the bottom bracket by Team Liquid.
Well,
Okay, fine, everybody. I was trying to give anybody
I'm
an
unable to
opportunity.
process all of your words.
You can't.
No, it's tricky.
I think my brain's working better, but
Yeah.
I'm having a worse physical reaction.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as, when I said I threw it, I was like, it's not going to get worse.
Gotcha.
But it's not going away.
It's not getting better.
Like, I really
no,
thought
it
we know
stays
that
for a
much.
while.
it stays for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
You'll also
Yeah.
like feel it in the pit of your stomach.
Yeah.
I hit the point
Yeah.
where I drink too much now. Now my stomach just hurts from liquid ingestion.
This is why ice is like maybe not as good as people think,
Yeah?
much like milk.
So just go through the pain, basically. We're back to the
All right, I think I
1800s where you
feel
just
better
have
than
to
you.
go through the pain and
You
walk
might.
off.
You know, I have a stomach ache?
No, not yet.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
Let's get back to a little bit of LCS-related stuff before we close out the day and be on our way. I just, again, and maybe we can pull up the bracket one more time because I know we focused on TSM FlyQuest there, but I'd like to get some opinions overall on how the bracket kind of fleshed out. We were talking a little bit off camera how, in the end, a lot of this does align with some preseason expectations with a couple notable changes, Emily.
Yeah, and obviously the notable change is CLG. None of us expected CLG to finish as high as 4th by the end of the split. Now the biggest test is how well do they do going forward in like a best of 5.
Yeah, definitely. Who adapts better, in my opinion, because like I really want to see if CLG is that Dark Knight that can the Dark Knight, like as if they're Batman.
I like it.
Basically, if they're the dark horse that can come in and mess up the dreams of either 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, because every playoffs, it feels like we go into it, we just expect those 3 teams to come out ahead, and then there's a surprise that ultimately comes through.
And the drafting in this series should be, in particular, really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we've previously given CLG, credit for a lot of their creative drafts. We saw the Akali Yone come out today and work really well. We know that they can flex those in 2 positions as well. And they're obviously really a Seraphine team. Like, I'm very curious to see what CLG specifically puts together in a best of 5 because I still am a little bit uneasy. This is where we get to find out like just how good they are, right?
I like it because sometimes teams that overperform in a regular season, overperform, in air quotes, limp into playoffs from that position. But I think CLG has not done that. They finished relatively strong, and so it doesn't feel like a fluke where sometimes it does. The question is, though, with C9 missing their first games without their main roster, like these two actually feel very, very close.
Yeah, because the C9 team still doesn't seem like they're completely together, but I still worry so much about CLG. Like, we have our top 4 from the start of the year that we expected, and CLG is the only surprise team in that. So, like, I actually really want them to do well so that regular seasons continue to be exciting and results that we get from them can translate to playoffs. But right now, I don't see it happening.
Raz, just on the C9 point, I feel like of all the playoff teams, that is the team right now that still is the furthest away from like their max potential.
Yeah.
In other words, if they get there, I feel like they can be the biggest threat to a number of these teams, especially from the 5th position.
1,000%. Actually, even though I spoke pretty highly about CLG, and Mark, you did mention the fact that they came in like at least decently at the end of it, they still came in today 0-2. And I feel like the problem will always be when it comes to playoffs, having a clear idea of what draft you're coming into and finding full confidence in it, which I think C9 is really hammering down, and just executing. And I think once again, another point is C9 seems to be doing really well on top of that. Jensen is really finding a groove, has a good identity, and now working alongside Blaber. That's my biggest fear, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup between C9 and CLG.
EG won a tiebreaker to finish 4th in the regular season.
Yeah, there you go.
C9 won a tiebreaker to finish 5th in the regular season. That's the closest analog was Spring EG to Summer C9.
Yeah.
EG did pull it together.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that C9 does, but the talent that they have in their peak is, I think, LCS champion level.
Absolutely.
It's just unknown if they're going to get there.
One, it's that, and then it's that against the stability and/or consistency of any of those other teams that are already at the top, right? In EG, that does look better than that spring form, which they
15-3,
blossomed into, and then a 14-400 Thieves.
Yeah.
The fact that the best historical record of that organization doesn't even get them first place against EG is pretty wild.
It's crazy. And I think it always comes down to what you feel like is strong on paper, because at the beginning of the split, I said like Cloud9 felt to me the strongest team on paper, isn't working out. Evil Geniuses, I didn't think they were the strongest on paper in spring coming into that split. I still thought they were really strong enough to be like top 4, and they surpassed that and are really powering through based off of the players they had on paper, impact, inspired. So my main point is going into playoffs, like throw everything out the window. I will have expectations, but now I'm open for that to just be like that expectation to be blown wide open with how Cloud9 and CLG in particular can play.
And you mentioned 100 Thieves and EG, but one team we haven't mentioned that all of the other teams have been talking about is TL.
That's a good point.
Like, for whatever is going on, probably in scrims, like I feel like every player today has said something positive and about how scary TL is.
I think this game is a good microcosm for why they might have felt that way, the one that they just lost, where if you go up against that in scrims and you fall 4K down, getting slammed in all 3 lanes, 5K, whatever that gold league got to, most teams are going to mentally crumble in scrims, whereas on stage you'll fight a little bit more.
Right.
So I think they are one of these teams where I want to see that over you have to win the mid to late game. Because that's where you actually win the game. The early game can be turned around and reversed. And so this is kind of how they've been all split, where they stomp early games and then they struggle a little bit more mid to late games.
Hitting a little bit more resistance, probably, from those teams, as you mentioned.
To parallels that you were talking about, EG was the team in spring where everyone's like, no, this team's good.
Trust us, guys.
Trust us, they're good. And then they win the split.
So basically, at the end of this conversation, I feel like,
very fun.
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like we have no clue really who should be favored or what will happen in the playoffs, but therefore feels like the perfect precursor to the postseason. A quick note: there is no Bud Light League Lounge this week, but we will catch you next Sunday for a playoff round of Pong. That's gonna do it though from us here on the LCS in this 2022 Summer Split. The regular season is all wrapped up. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. And we'll see you later for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to each other. Good night.
I was supposed to have a bow and arrow to shoot at the...
That's what we need to get you. Welcome to the final day of the LCS regular season here in 2022. Raz has hopped onto the desk with us, eyeing them habaneros.
But can they even pick up the eye? Revenge and everybody else in Immortals are caught in the fate sealed. And 3 die instantly. Kennedy's gonna walk through here with super active, so they see the shadow of Palafox over the wall, but not like it matters. Zeri and Akali working together, pick up a freebie.
Our breaking news is that Raz is officially safe from having to eat
I'm very hot.
habanero. With CLG picking up that win earlier today, they not only guarantee themselves...
Jensen about to send Jojo back to Fortnite.
Yeah.
Evil geniuses still trying to find a way to fight now. Inspired wants to get away. Jensen on the chase. They get Guardian Angel. Berserker instantly firing. Danny will die. Shutdown to Blaber. Absolute domination from C9.
What'd you say about Fudge? He hits the ulti. Inspire gets a counter kill though quickly onto Jensen.
Inspire coming back. He kills Jensen.
No way.
Berserker wants to come. Oh my God. That was huge. Inspired. 1v3. Sit the hell down, Cloud9. FlyQuest is still fighting it. Chime dies next. Spica goes in, but he's about to get snipped into pieces. Johnsun gets a double. Johnsun gets a triple. TSM fall to pieces. And Johnsun gets a quadra kill.
Oh, we got a starter. Let's go.
Buys a lot of time. That should be it. Someone actually dying. Just locked in place. Seraphine by herself makes it happen.
Don't flash. No E. He's dead.
Nice. Does not have flash. He walks in. Oh, nearly gets it, but it's going to be claimed. 1 for nothing so far. Sivir has get the shot. Corjay going to be attacked. Here comes the scoop to buy some time.
I'm ready.
Ready for what?
Shit, Dogonitas.
Oh, that's what I like to hear out of you.
Yo, we win, and then we go playoff. We go world championship. Is that easy?
A stun gonna come through for Jax, but already Alistair's here, and Ahri as well, and it's gonna be a cleanup. Get the mop in the bucket and get Golden Guardians out of here. Can't get the team fight to start. 3k HP. River needs to get it, he can't get it. Elder is claimed. 1 for nothing so far, though. Gwen is dead. XU low, he gets a second, a third. 3-2 so far. Dignitas have 2 alive. The stun, the flash in, and LeTigress sets it up.
It's time for us to head out to the Battle Arena one final time here in the regular split as we hand things over to Phreak, Azael, and MarkZ. I promise this time for the call.
Are you sure?
I think.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are the Doug Duo, but we have summoned from the dirt the one and only MarkZ.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi.
And now Cloud9 looking to end what FlyQuest started, but first the dunk comes across. Only a single kill picked up. Philip trying to do his best right now. Dives in. Is it enough lockdown is the question. Blaber on the front line. Will they revive him? It's going to be a kill. Already toucouille is down. And they're going to dive in for a whole lot more. When do they get the fight, though? Johnsun still has his ulti. Pops up. Dodges a bit of damage, but nothing else is available. And he will drop 2 kills picked up. They cannot get away. Josedeodo's going to fall. Aphromoo going to be next. A 5 for nothing. The Bud Light ace. And it's going to be all Cloud9 all day.